Hello and welcome to this CPD session where we will be looking at how we can use STEM to improve student engagement in science. My name is Cam Basra. I am the Head of Science at Studio School and also the Teach Lead Professional for Science across the mat. So our objectives for this CPD session is I hope to be able to provide an overview for you of how STEM providers can be incorporated into the curriculum effectively, and also to evaluate the impact that this can have on student engagement in science. Now, in simple terms, STEM education simply means educating students in 4 disciplines: is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And this is really important because we do need to better equip our students to have a career and consider real world applications. And I think the skills that they develop through STEM are really important, such as critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. Now we can see that actually over the years, there has been an increase in STEM jobs. The STEM sector is expected to be one of the largest employers in the world. So very new career prospects are popping up at a very, very fast pace. So it's important that actually our students are equipped for the real world that they will be going into. The rationale behind this came from, well, at Studio School, a smaller school, but we also had no labs, any science labs until last year. And for that reason, we really had to think outside the box. So this project, the STEM project, was initiated in order to engage students in science and provide opportunities for them to experience how science is actually a part of their everyday life, but in a fun and an interactive way. Our data analysis had highlighted that actually a high percentage of our students are from disadvantaged backgrounds. We have 40 to 50% of students from disadvantaged backgrounds, and they do present, not all, but some do present low aspirations and have displayed large gaps in knowledge, where they've actually had very limited opportunity to experience science activities. During science QAs, the student voice has also expressed the lack of science practical work due to the absence of labs, and this has impacted engagement within the subject. As expected, STEM would improve students' science knowledge, and working with outside providers, we really wanted to bring science, technology, engineering and maths into the school in a practical and an engaging way. We really wanted to make sure that we could develop the science capital, so providing as much opportunity of a much greater sum of all the science related knowledge and their experiences and resources that they could be introduced to that they could then use to build up throughout their life. This includes what science they already know, what they think about science, but also the day-to-day engagement. So from this project, our intended outcomes was that we wanted students to be more engaged within our subject area. We wanted to provide opportunities for them to experience something different, be able to make those links. And we hope that actually both of those together would then have a positive impact on attainment. So I'm now going to go through some of the STEM activities that we have actually trialed and tested. The 3 providers that I will introduce to you, firstly, STEM response team, secondly, STEM learning, and thirdly, medical mavericks, which have also we've used in a school collaborative role too. So firstly, the STEM response team, they are an award-winning outreach and public engagement team. They are based at the University of Wolverhampton, their campus, and they bring amazing shows, workshops, inside a school, outside a school, theatre productions, all centred around STEM. And we've been quite fortunate, the fact that the last almost 3 to 4 years, we've actually worked quite closely with them. as a team. The main contact there is Heather, if you need to get some more information from her. So the kind of work that we've actually done with the STEM response team, we've been very lucky. The fact that we actually were involved in a workshop on campus. So our students went to the University of Wolverhampton. This was hosted by the Royal Society of Chemistry. It was a whole day event exploring wastewater treatment and opportunities for students to conduct some practical work. The bonus was it was absolutely free, no cost of transport, lunch was even provided. Our main aim was for this project was to really inspire and raise aspirations of our students, importance of chemistry for everyday life, and actually relating that to the technology and the engineering side of the establishment. First, and also we found that a lot of students, for them, they were the first to have ever visited a university. We found the workshop to be very positive. Our students really enjoyed the experience. Were quite overwhelmed with the university and the campus itself. It was really nice to be able to see some initial conversations regarding university from students that maybe didn't have as many links of individuals within their social circles of people going to university. Some students, a little bit of a drawback was some students felt that they would have preferred more time in the labs. That is understandable because obviously at studio school at that particular point, we did not have our own science labs, and the labs at the university were absolutely amazing. And here's just some images from that day. On the left is some of the collaborative work that took place with the lecture theatre, and then they were involved in the practical work. We have also invited the STEM response team into our school to provide some workshops that have been really beneficial. We've had 3 workshops: mission transmission, which focused on biology, infection control. We've had volatile chemistry, and we've had Women in Chemistry, which was a theatre production put on by STEM response team. These shows are absolutely fantastic at such a large scale, being able to see chemistry and the science on a much larger scale for students. Students very much enjoyed the shows. They participated when asked to. What I think we really appreciate from STEM response team is how well it links in with the curriculum. When we booked them, they did ask us what topics had been done, where students were at this particular point in the course, which allowed them to adapt the shows accordingly, which was really good. Some images from the workshops on that day, and you can see that it's at a much larger scale for the interaction and experiences that students would have. Our latest interaction with STEM response team has been a SciFest, so a science festival held at the University of Wolverhampton campus. This was just before the summer break. It was actually a collaborative project with the maths department. Students had an opportunity to see the technology and engineering side of STEM. They were involved in an ugly animal roadshow. Got to see some real unusual creatures, and it also gave them an opportunity to speak with so many different industry specialists. So it was the SciFest was held with lots and lots of different industry specialists out, actually providing information and allowing students to have a go at particular practical work and activities, which they really enjoyed. The students were fully participated, they engaged, they really enjoyed the engineering side of the robot chef. And actually year 10 requested to go again this year as year 11. I think what we took away as a cohort was the links with industry, which were really good. I think it really opened up some doors for some students, thinking that's something I'd really like to go into, which was really good and really encouraging. Some images from that day. So you can see the top ones are to do with the robot chef. So technology, the engineering side. You've got them speaking to industry professionals there in the middle and the left. And then lots of activities on throughout the day that students really got involved in. Our other provider that we've worked closely with for the last couple of years has been STEM Learning. STEM Learning is based at York University, and they provide a vast amount of CPD and a wealth of knowledge to support the education of STEM. The ones that we have used so far, we've used STEM ambassadors that have been recommended by STEM Learning. Two of those STEM ambassadors, we've used a development of medicine and climate change and the importance of renewable energy. What this involves is there's a list of all these different ambassadors which have maybe come from the field of expertise, of maybe medicine, of developing drugs, or being involved in industry for climate change, or actually being teachers who have studied it. And they provide a presentation for your students. What we really liked about this was before the booking, they again wanted to know what year group they were, what part of the curriculum they were actually studying at this point, what links or prior knowledge they had, which was really good because it allowed them to focus on their presentation and make sure that actually it was at the correct level for the students. You can see there's images there of them actually the online presentation. The first one, it was the development of medicine, and the second one there on climate change. And I think what that gave the students was an insight into research, into scientists, the everyday life of how it impacts us, ultimately making and linking with the curriculum and the specification. That was brilliant, very good. I do recommend that if you do book them, please make it really explicit on what you want from them. What is the main part of the curriculum that you want delivered, that they can then really enhance on, and they can really go into depth for you with your students in front of you. Through STEM Learning, we have also been very fortunate to be involved in the Stimulating Physics Network. What this has done is that we've actually been introduced to a lovely gentleman called Philip Jones, who has provided quite a lot of workshops for the department last year. This is somebody who's got first-hand experience and is somebody who is so passionate about their subject, and actually it's contagious. And what Philip has done for us last year is provided practical ideas on the teaching and the delivery of quite complicated ideas that sometimes it can be quite difficult to get across to students. And he's made it so much easier. He's worked with our technician and our physics teacher and actually other members of staff as well, just to provide that real CPD, which our staff really value, and we hope to continue to work with Philip this year as well. The collaborative STEM project was introduced through STEM Learning. There was a course which was provided by STEM Learning where the head of maths and the head of science from a school came together. So myself and head of maths, which is Anne Crosby at her school, attended a residential course in July 22. It was absolutely brilliant. It gave us an opportunity to really understand each other's subject. It allowed us to understand the numeracy skills across both the subjects, and more importantly, how we could support each other's subject in moving forward. What has come from that is that we've actually started to embed new learning, which by introducing half-termly collaborative meetings. So the maths team, the science team will meet up every half term to discuss aspects of areas that we really want to work on. We have initiated a skills-based bridging program with Year 10. This has been really good. It's allowed us to transfer skills and misconceptions of maths in science and vice versa. So, for example, anomalous results, the lines are best fit in maths and in science. And actually, before, we've just allowed and not really understood why those students are making those mistakes in your science lesson, because actually in maths, that's how they would conduct that particular skill in maths. So it's really been enlightening. Both maths and science have adapted our medium-term planning. We have changed the order round of some of the topics, more so maths, I must say. So we're really grateful for that. They've actually brought some topics earlier in the specification to cover topics that are frequently tested in science. This collaboration between maths and science has obviously forged some really positive relationships, and I'm not surprised the fact that we've now got quite a lot of projects on the go. We've done a joint planning of medical mavericks last year. We're refining that now again, which will take place in 2 weeks' time. And the SciFest was also a collaborative project between maths and science. So it's a really good way of actually moving STEM forward, working with other subject areas. Medical Mavericks is another provider which we have used to introduce STEM and engage our students. Medical Mavericks has provided 2 workshops for us. We've used them probably for the last 3 or 4 years. During COVID, we even used them for some online sessions. We had the human guinea pig show where the presenter was actually going through different ways of testing blood and your heart rate, and the students, while studying from home, really enjoyed that aspect of it. Within actual school, we've had quite a few workshops annually now. One of the workshops has been Careers in Health, where it's a hands-on workshop where you can take blood, record and print your ECGs. Students get a go at trying keyhole surgery, seeing inside the body with an ultrasound machine, taking pictures of inside of the eye. And actually what we really value from Medical Mavericks is the fact that they introduce and really relate the activities to so many of the careers in the NHS too. So provide students with that kind of information related to health. The other workshop that Medical Mavericks has provided for us is Challenge the Champions, where students are involved in quite a lot of sports activities, and they are involved in collecting data, and some even trying to break some records in terms of the different activities that are there. Students thoroughly enjoy the workshops. They take a lot from it. It gives them an understanding of how important the technology and engineering side of certain products are to the health and the sports science industry, and also the opportunity for hands-on practical activities, which actually, without these workshops, they would not have the opportunity to experience this. Here are some images over the years. So we can see we've got somewhere experiencing if you had certain different types of eye diseases or defects. You've got scanners there, a student doing keyhole surgery, some ultrasound work, some ECGs, and taking blood from a fake arm. For the sports science, we can see we're having a look at their response rates, ball throw, measuring speed, looking at their strength for those activities, and then also on the bike. Now, using what we've learned from STEM, using findings from the SciFest, from Medical Mavericks, we've also done quite a lot of in-house STEM collaborative projects. One of the most recent ones has been our crime scene investigation. This particular project, we worked with numerous departments across the school, and students took the new learning that they'd acquired from all those different aspects of STEM that we've actually been introducing them to. The maths department, students conducted activities where they were identifying the dead body from bone measurements, so the numeracy skills involved there. The resource was actually taken from the STEM response team. The English department did a fantastic job of coordinating the interrogation of the suspects and really developed the oracy skills for us. My department, very heavily involved in the forensics of the evidence, as expected. And this allowed us to apply the knowledge that they'd gained from the SciFest, which was really, really interesting. The technology side of it, we had our media department do a recording of a fake CCTV footage to use for the crime scene investigation, and the art department took mugshots of our suspects, which were all members of staff across the school. The impact, very positive. It was a drop-down morning for the whole school. We collaborated across the school. Students were fully engaged. They were developing their numeracy, oracy, and scientific investigative skills. Here are some images from that day. You can see that the staff are being interrogated there. You've got in maths, they're trying to use measurements of bone to identify who has been murdered, and then the practical side from the forensics in science. Now, as well as using outside agencies, I'm really an advocate for staff who actually have a wealth of knowledge. My technician has done a variety of different presentations to students on backgrounds that they've come from. So Vicky, who's the science technician, comes from a chemistry background. An industry experience of hers, it was in food testing. And the students absolutely love it. They love to find out the fact that she's been involved in testing foods that were then involved in some sort of food poisoning, and actually they had to identify the cause and how it shut down the restaurant. So, and just allowing that kind of real life experience of the chemistry, I think it really kind of provides students with so much more knowledge on aspects of science in real life. So it's really important that actually within your departments, try to utilize staff that actually have been out and done other things in industry before maybe they've come to a teaching base, and especially your technicians. I mean, when I've had meetings with technicians across the mat, and I was asking them what their backgrounds were. We've got loads of microbiologists, we've got loads of forensic scientists. They've worked out in industry and now obviously converted over to technician roles. But there is a wealth of knowledge there that can be shared with our students, providing them with so much more knowledge. Now, you may be thinking this is all great, and we understand that actually there is a cost to these particular workshops, and obviously the budgets within schools are not great. More so, we know that more so at Studio School because we're a much smaller school, but there is funding available to support the budget in order for this to take place in order for you to kind of incorporate STEM activities into your curriculum. Firstly, we've done a lot of, we've gained funding from Aspire. We've gained up to about £3,000 over 2 years, which is through applying for the award. We have also every year made sure that we've gained funding from British Science Association, so to conduct STEM activities during the British Science Week, but also get in touch with your school pupil premium lead and actually have conversations with them in terms of actually supporting students from those disadvantaged backgrounds that may not have the opportunities or the experiences to really understand science and its everyday life implications. So there are ways. I mean, the Innovation Award from Aspire, you can actually bid up to £5,000 to run a targeted intervention that will help pupils to overcome existing barriers that will allow them to apply for higher education or higher level apprenticeships. The funding can be used in bringing in external organisations like we've done, so whether it's STEM response teams or medical mavericks. It can be used for transport if you want to take them out on particular workshops. It can be used for staff cover and also for materials that you may need for you to actually deliver that particular workshop. So it is really helpful and really useful. Just to kind of make it really clear in terms of the costing of these, so Medical Mavericks workshop is around about 1,500. Yes, I would say it's quite expensive, but actually if you organise it, you could actually have numerous different year groups going down and actually experiencing those workshops on that day. So that's a day's cost. And what we've done in the past is we've had our year 10s, year 11s, our sixth form. We've really taken up all the opportunity we could have to get as many students to experience the workshop and take at least something away from it, whether it's a technology or whether it's an understanding of a procedure. So I think if you do book them, then try to get as many different year groups down to get value for money. Medical Mavericks shows have been about £500. So that's slightly less, but then again, make sure that you have a larger number of students that are going to be watching the shows. The STEM response team, their shows are slightly cheaper and actually they cater for quite large audiences as well. So they're really good value for money and they, like we said before, very engaging shows and really get everybody involved. In terms of not being able to find the funding and if budgets are stretched, you can obviously apply, get in touch with the STEM response team. Like we did, our SciFest was free for us. We only had to arrange our transport. The University of Wolverhampton work collaboratively with Royal Society of Chemistry, so it may be that you may be able to get involved in some lab work for free. If you're fortunate enough, maybe completely everything free like we did, which was amazing. Your STEM ambassador presentations from STEM Learning, completely free. Yeah, these are industry specialists within their own field who are willing to present to schools. So that's another option. You've got your science technicians, please use them, ask them what their background is. Would they be willing to relay their knowledge and how their experiences of where they worked before lend itself to science, to technology and the impact that it has on everyday life. And the cross-curricular and whole school collaborative projects, that's something that more than anything, it involves communication. And I think because we've worked with the maths department quite closely now, since we've initiated the project, it's actually allowed other departments also wanting to come in and actually collaborate at a whole school level, which has been really encouraging for us. So thank you for watching. If there is anything that you would like more information on, or you'd like to ask how you might introduce a particular idea, then please don't hesitate to email me. So my email's there. I have just on this last slide just added in some links that might be of use to you. So the STEM response team at the University of Wolverhampton, you can get in touch with them and have a look at what's on offer, the free workshops, or the ones maybe you want to call them into school, or whether you want to actually experience something out of school. My main contact has been Heather, and she's lovely and very accommodating, so please get in touch. I've put a link there for the Stimulating Physics Network. So some great ideas in making physics easier to understand, and also maybe supporting your staff within your department who maybe are not physics specialists, or maybe it's quite early on in their career and actually they could really benefit from using expertise. I've put a link there for the ambassadors from STEM Learning. Like I've said, free specialists in their field who are willing to provide presentations to schools, and then a link there for Medical Mavericks workshops. Okay, thank you.